do not adjust your computer screen, tablet, iPhone, or any other device I can't even think of right at the moment that you might be watching this on. If you are seeing a camera screen, that means you're here for the figurine collection that is going to be the greatest of greatness. The Great Sea Room. Oh yeah, set up for that play on word. Anyway, howdy guys and gals, I'm Silent09! Last time we left off, we finished up the Common Enemy Room and Geddon's Army, which I prefer to refer to as the Enemy Room, and the Boss Room, just because it's a lot easier to remember, but that's just me. So today we have just a handful of figurines, and this is going to be relatively short, because, you know, of all the cutting and whatnot, but also because I'm only going to be focusing on the Great Sea Room today, and then tomorrow what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and focus on the figurines that we can't really collect or obtain by simply snapping a photo of, because it's impossible to snap a photograph of them. But anyway, that's for tomorrow. Today, let's focus on the Great Sea. Moving on to the first figurine. Most notably, by far, the most challenging figurine to obtain is probably going to be Fishman's figurine. And it's not just because he's moving, it's also because he's moving and he's a small target. Additionally, we also need to get him to face the camera. Since we really can't, like, force him to face forward, you know, eyes front, you know, to force him to look forward. That can be kind of challenging. Also, what you just noticed there is we can't exactly see where he's going to swim underneath. So, you know, if he decides, hey, I'm going to hop out here, but then I'm just going to suddenly randomly pop up to the left or to the right. Yeah, that's the part that's going to make this really infuriating. So it's literally going to be like Pokemon Snap, just instant, split second that you're going to have to hope to goodness you get a good photo of. And much like the seagulls and the crabs, like I said before, you need to make sure you get a good close-up shot. Because otherwise, he's going to be like, nope, all my nopes. So I'm probably going to end up just taking 3 photos of this, 3 of my best, and then hoping to goodness that one of these will work. I think that might pass, but I'm also like hesitant to say that because he has a tendency to not like photos where their back is facing you, essentially. I mean, most of you have seen this entire like journey. I mean, if you didn't, I'll put a card on screen for the very first video of the figurine collecting, for those who are just now tuning in for some reason. I don't know why you want to tune into like part 1. What part are we on? What the heck part are we even on, man? Seriously. Let's see, 110. That means this is part 111. My goodness. You just wanted to tune into this part because it had 1111 in it, didn't you? That's a pretty good one. One more for the good cause. Just for the good cause, man. Oh! That might pass. That might pass. I'm going to take these and see what happens with Karloff. Swoosh! And dropping on him using the power of the Ballad of the Gales. Here we are at Southern Fairy Island, just because, well, it's the only fairy island I can think of that we can warp to and get to really easily. So you may be wondering, like, okay, there's no way you're going to get the Great Fairy on film, right? Because, I mean, that's impossible. You are correct. It is impossible to actually snap a photo ourselves of the Great Fairy. But what is not impossible to do is to get a photograph of our figurine that we are actually here for. And that, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ladies and germs, is the fairy. I know I drawed that out way too much. I drew that out way too much, excuse me. Drawed? What are you? Some idiot? Well, actually, you're not an idiot if you don't know the past tense usually is drew instead of drawed. Anyway, I don't know why. Still talking, we just need to get a good photo. That's not a good photo. Zoom in, please. Come on now, photograph 101. There we go. That should be good. Here we are on Great Fish Isle, and we're not actually here to trade, thankfully, but if you remember, we have these 3 merchants. I mean, you can get a photograph of any one of these. You do not need to get a good photograph of... We need to get a good photograph, but you don't need to get a photograph of all 3 of the merchants separately, because these guys are all going to be on one little figurine. So let's go ahead and get his backpack and all. If we can, it'd be super. I may have to actually bring the boat around. I'll let you know if that's the case. Oh yeah, by the way, in case it wasn't evident, the Fisherman Photo was a success. Turns out you really only need to focus on just zooming the camera in order to get a good photograph, you know, so that way his size isn't really going to mess you up. As for the fairy, haven't really checked that yet, but I'm pretty sure it'll be good. Same as before, though. You'll need to make sure you zoom in because the fairy's a small creature. Alright, so, moving on to the next figurine.
Ho, ho, Horseshoe Island! Welcome, ya landlubbers. This here be where you find Old Man Ho-Ho. Or at least one of him, anyway.
If you haven't killed some of the big octos on the sea, I think he's actually seen out there on a few of the islands, like Private Oasis. I think maybe you might find this guy on Outside Island. He's just kind of like all over the place. But if you want a guaranteed spot, he will always be on Horseshoe Island. I think the sideways shot, it's a little iffy. Let me get a little closer so I can get more of his big eyeball here. It's really weird looking. Maybe I need to back it up a bit. You know, back it. Oh, don't do that. Don't ever do that. Seriously, in real life, don't do that. That's unless you have really good upper arm strength. I don't recommend doing what I just did there with a link. I think this shot should be good. If I need to fix it, I'll make sure I let y'all know. Okay. And near Paw Print Isle, if you decide to go ahead and sail out this way, you'll find the Salvage Corp just kind of hanging out, chilling out right here. If you remember, we actually first ran into these guys right on,
Kaboom!
not right on the cannon, no. Nobody asked you, gunboat, seriously, ugh. No, we met these guys when we were sailing from Dragonboost, straight to Forest Haven, actually, and specifically, I think it was like Eastern Triangle Island. We ran into these guys, and when we talked to them, they gave us a treasure chart for free for talking to them. Yeah, we probably forgot about these guys long since ago. Now, you don't need to worry about them facing forward or anything, you just kind of need to go, okay, this thing is going to die. I'm sorry. You stupid gunship. I didn't do anything to you, you're going to come over here, up in my business, and try and mess with me. I'm trying to take a photo, and you're going to sit here and try to destroy me with bombs. You, sir, have just signed your death wish. Eat bombs, you creep. Oh, sure, yeah. Suddenly I take damage as well. Great, yeah, thanks, game. Well, you know what? Take that. And 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 okay, I'm pushing the button rapidly and nothing's happening. Let's move on to the next figurine, shall we? And on Windfall Island, we'll actually find a couple of figurines. One of them, we're going to find the guy that brought us...
Splish!
That's right, Salvador himself, baby. Oh yeah, you only need to get his bored expression, really. You don't need to worry about the desktop that he's got here. Not that Karloff is interested in what he has on his desktop. He probably has all kinds of, like, photographs he's saved from his past job experiences, and he's like, ugh, why do we even bother? Anyway, I'm just rambling. Let's move on to the other figurine that's in Windfall Island, specifically at night. And still at Windfall, at the Milk Bar, if you come here at night, as before, you'll see a bunch of people here, but you'll also find Loot the Sailor. And this guy may not seem familiar at first, but if you think about, like, all the times we sailed around sea exploring all the different islands individually, you may actually remember that this guy... That was weird. I just pushed B and it, like, zoomed out for a second there. This guy here runs the boating course, actually, and if you want to, you can get his photograph out on the boating course. Now, some of you were probably wondering when I was doing the Windfall Island figurines, actually, I'm just going to take time to explain that now, why I didn't get Salvador or Loot the Sailor. That's because these guys are actually part of the Great Sea Room, hence why they're included in this video. And for organizational sake, that's kind of why I also held off doing that. Okie dokie artichoke. So, remember this photo of Loot? Yeah, don't ever take it, don't ever accept it. Try actually getting a full body shot, because apparently our good buddy Karloff is once again going to give us the, oh, that's not quite right, yeah, I need the full body shot. Versus where a lot of the characters we've snapped photos of, including this lady here, we've actually not had a full body shot, but for some reason, Loot is an exception to this. I'm not even going to question, I'm just going to be like, let's move on to the next figurine. Anywho, while that correction photo was a minor mishap or a setback, while we're here on Windfall Island, if you go ahead and enter Beetle's ship, you know, either here or wherever his Beetle ship happens, or shop ship happens to, like, be stationed at. If you need help, all you need to do is check out the, No, I don't want to trade that. What are you doing? I can't buy that. I only buy things that fit in the disposal bag. Don't you have anything else? I do. Okay, never mind. You have to come to the right side. What I was about to say is, while we're here, let's go ahead and, snap a photo of our good trader buddy here, Beetle. And as I said before, you'll find him on any place that's marked on your Beetle chart. Oh man, Link, I don't know how you're gonna do it, dude. I would get motion sickness after this. So, are you tired of traveling yet? I mean, seriously, this Great Sea thing is not, like, really too hard. It's just, this is turning out to be very high maintenance. Like, we're going from island to island to island to island. This is like doing the freaking Forest Haven room. Well, fret not. If you've made it this far, the last figurines are going to be right here on Tingle Island. That's right. We're going to need all of the Tingle... Well, Tingle and his two friends, actually. Which I thought for the longest time they were actually brothers, but apparently they're just friends that happen to be working here. Right up here, standing with a little cheery grin and a tweaked mustache and beard, we'll find our good buddy Tingle. And then clad in pink, so fabulously, is going to be, I believe his name's Ankle. If I'm mixing his name up with the other one, excuse me. And the guy clothed in clothes that are just absolutely horrible when it comes to showing every stain in the world is our good buddy David Jr. I think he was also the one that was like always pessimistic. But that's everybody that we are required to get as far as like completing the Great Sea Room. Okay, so apparently this is not an acceptable shot. Do you want to know what Karloff said was the reasoning? He says, and I quote, "Oh, almost right. That's not quite a full body shot. I need a full body to inspire me to sculpt." What the fudge are you even smoking, Karloff? Seriously, I don't... Every time I've done an episode with this, I've run into this similar issue where I'm like, what the fudge are you smoking? No, you're wrong, you're crazy. But apparently, according to the game, no, I'm the one that's in the wrong, and, you know, the NPC knows best. So let's try doing the same thing I did with Ankle and David Jr., and just get a head-to-torso shot, which is clearly not a full body shot, but maybe that's not what he's emphasizing. Maybe he needs to see the creases of his man boobs that are kind of sticking out there above his shirt. Just maybe that's what it is. Or maybe he needs to see the sweat stains underneath the armpits more clearly so he can paint in the dark spots that he needs to paint in. I don't know. Forgive me if I sound bitter and I'm ranting right now, but I'm a little perturbed that this has been an ongoing joke with this entire project of doing these little figurines. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the optional figurine that I know somebody was thinking like, well, what about that? Yeah, don't worry, we're getting to that. Now, as I was saying before during my little rant rave, my little piss and moan groan fest, basically, pardon my French, but honestly, that's what it is at this point. Some of you may have wondered, like, what about this guy? You spent like an episode, a 26-something minute episode, mind you, getting this guy unlocked. Well, actually, most of that was tutorial, but anyway. Knuckle is actually not a required figurine to obtain in this game, in the GameCube version. Now, for those who are my Wii U players of this game, you do need to get Knuckles' figurine. So you'll need to do that whole bit with the, okay, go on this little goose chase just to unlock him. But as far as anybody playing the GameCube, you do not need to worry about getting Knuckle. I will say as a little footnote, if you do not get Knuckle before you finish getting every figurine, and there's a point where if you get the last figurine, Karloff does something, and I'm not going to spoil what he does yet, but if you do not get it before he does that, and essentially whatever happens, you know, to prevent him from making further figurines, you will not be able to get his figurine, Knuckles' figurine, for the rest of the game, basically, for the rest of the save file. And is that golden Tingle statue moving, or am I just crazy? Oh no, that's... That was the yellow arrow above his head. I swear to... the Triforce Shard of Courage. I thought the Tingle statue was glitching out and his head was moving. Or that he had installed something and I just didn't notice it before. Okay, delusional thoughts aside, let's go ahead and move back to the Nintendo Gallery and take a look at our great work that we've done. Trying to snap all these photographs and get them carved into figurines.
Do you see what I see? Do you hear what I hear?
Hear, hear, I say. We have finished the Great Sea Room, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's check out the rewards we got for taking time to go around and creepily snap photos of every living creature, person, etc. Now, before, as you remember, all we had to do to get all those figurines that are like lined up ready to be knocked down are courtesy of Tetra. If you get a photograph of her, sorry, my mustache was itching there. If you get a photograph of her just as you're about to go and show her the place where you picked up the Master Sword, as soon as you do that, you'll get all her crew members here, all these little figurines. And I honestly couldn't admit to knowing all their names. I mean, I know Nico, and I know Gonzo way over here, because those two are just kind of goofy ones that stick out. I think this guy's actually Mako, and then Alvarez, I don't know. Swashbuckler, I really don't know, and then Saw's back. Yeah, I clearly don't know them. My future self is like, what the fudge are you smoking, sir? And here's the most challenging figurine, Fishman himself. Such a nice catch, if I do say so myself, not just to play on the word of fish. And this guy over here kind of creepily eyeballing the pirates there, it looks like. I actually like how they faced him. They faced him like that way, and of course they face these guys over. Yeah, it's interesting. And then like right up here they have the ferry facing forward, but all the characters, it seems like they have them facing opposite sides of the room, kind of viewing each other. Got the Salvage Corp there, Salvador looking bored as ever. But yeah, you'll notice of course that I didn't notice this before, but see, I suppose I should probably explain. I probably somewhere along the way said something along the lines of that you can either get Knuckle, or get this optional figurine here, or you can get the very last figurine in the game. And this is kind of a true story that goes along with it. True story, I thought that this was true, because when I read the guidebook and the directions, like how you're supposed to get all the figurines, and I was reading through them, and for some reason, 2 and 2 didn't quite get 4, 2 and 2 got fish, even though sometimes that's actually true, I guess, to some people. Anyway, Knuckle is actually, like I said, an optional figurine, and I may have actually mistakenly spoken and said, oh, well, you can either get Knuckle or you can get the very last figurine. That's... yeah, I misread that. That was me misreading the text, if I said that at all. And if I didn't, I'm just sitting here making a butt of myself. I do apologize on both accounts. Anywho, this has been the Great Sea Figurine Collecting Quest. We are almost finished with getting every figurine we can possibly get before we start basically proceeding to the end of the game. Stick around. Next video, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take care of the Lenzo figurines. Or is it Lenzo figurines? The Lenzo photographs, which I mentioned and talked about briefly a few times, but we haven't actually gone and done. But that's what's going to be next video's agenda, and then right after that, we are going to officially begin finishing the game. In the meantime, Toe... No, you don't have a toe, you have 10 toes, you knucklehead. Never mind. Take care, guys. Peace out, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.